Y'all. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome. So I'm going to actually start this over. If you can stay, stay. If you can't stay, that's all right. Look at the enemy. Hey, y'all, this is Montina here, and I created this Happy Wife Project's daily call support group, not because you going through all the time, but because when you go through, I want to be here as the daily support for you because I needed this type of support. There are so many people out here with prayer calls. I can pray for myself. You can pray for yourself. I wanted to create something practical for us that when we are in that deep valley in life, in our marriages, we have a way to see the hope to come out the valley, or if we're looking down the valley, we can encourage, inspire, and just share with someone else and love on them. I am here because 80% of the time your marriage is probably amazing. And the 20%, you're probably like, what the bleep? 80% meaning 30 days out the month, 24 days are phenomenal. They're going to be them few days. Okay, that 20%, that's 6 days out of 30 days that you're going to say, this is really tough. And it is. Someone needs to acknowledge it is. It's not that marriage is hard work. Sometimes it's hard work to stay in the marriage and stay connected. To stay connected to the person, okay, to stay connected. So I'm here as a connection, as a resource, as a source. I was getting into talking about what we do. We typically do a devotion, and today I really wanted to get into talking about some of the things that came from my church on Sunday. My pastor's out of town, and so we had a guest minister, but the guest minister, beside her spirit is just, it's very tenacious. It's very just, I almost want to call it angry, but I'd say it's more tenacious. She has been through some things, okay? And I realize as she's speaking, every time she ministers, every time she speaks, it's like, ah! But guess what? She's at war with something. And what I had captured from that is she was just saying, my praise is my weapon. And we have weapons that we need to use in our marriage. And that's what I was getting into when I looked down and saw the sound was out. But y'all gonna like this. Because actually in my notes Sunday, I keep the little notes. I put, sis, it might be time to check back in. And I didn't share that on the sound when the sound was gone. Check back in. What does that look like? Your home for you and your husband is a sanctuary. When he walks through that door, or if he's home, he's retired, what is your sanctuary like for him? You know your husband. Set the atmosphere with how your home smells. Now, it could be smelling like some food you're cooking. I like to put some food in the crock pot. Sometimes it could be with a candle. I'll do that sometimes, at night when I want a little bit more intimate setting in the wintertime, not the summertime, it's too hot. But set the atmosphere, sis, because it might be time for you to check back in. I noticed that in my marriage sometimes for me, not because he's checked out, but as women, I talked about these emotional connections we have outside of work, spending that 15 minutes talking to these men that have agendas. Set the atmosphere in your sanctuary. The second thing is put on songs. Set up your I'm gonna say it low, Alexa or your Echo. I have one in the kitchen. And set something on, some little jazz, some 90s R&B, country. Selena Johnson will get you in the mood. Whatever will set the tone. I put on gospel music in the morning, what my husband likes actually, okay? I'm more into worship maverick sound music. He's more into what's it called, like more of the gospel sound, Marvin, whatever, you get it. Set the atmosphere with the song. And the next one is sexiness. Sis, I talked about this. Put you on a cute little robe. Even if you have kids in the house, put on something. I always saw my grandmother actually, now that I look back, sexy in the house. I stayed with her until I was 12 years old. And even on holidays, she found these beautiful kimonos. Like, my grandma was really sharp, but I realized it. Put you on like a little skirt. If your husband likes you in some little yoga pants, you know how to be sexy for your husband. So again, check back in, sis. It might be time to check back in. Check back in. Look at the temperature for your marriage. Understand his triggers. Deaths in the family, challenges at work, crazy kids acting up, especially if you're in a blended family because you really don't know what's going on because you didn't grow up around these kids probably, okay? So understand the triggers. And I want to tell you a quick lottery story because belief drives everything. So I don't know if y'all know, but I hit the lottery. And this happened about 5 years ago. And maybe it was 2020. And I remember calling a friend and I was like, I hit the lottery. She's like, what? I had run around the house. I was out of breath. I'm jumping on beds. I'm screaming like, ah! I really did. Finally, she was like, girl, how much? I said, $37.50. And then I realized what I said, we just started laughing. But I had been playing this online, I'm not going to name it, but it was an online thing because I was dating a guy that was a poker player and they like to gamble a lot online. I only played a quarter, but I thought it was the coolest thing ever because I kind of figured out this way to do it. Belief, sis, drives everything. It drives everything in your marriage. It drives everything in your life and your relationships. That's why I talk so much about your mind. When he walks through the door, when you hear him open up the garage, there were some times when I used to have a little bit of anxiety when my husband and I were going through things that I had to, woosah. Belief about your marriage is going to drive everything. And that is going to lead me into the seasons, the monthly flow of your marriage. You on your time of the month, you might be a little bit more sensitive, but it's menopause. He might be a little bit more sensitive. And understand every message that's said is not for you. Sometimes you're just not going through things. I sit in church sometimes, majority of the stuff, I'm just really not going through difficult time in this season, in this stage of my life. Well, good for you, sis. Good for me. And good for you too. And if you are, I'm here for you. Sometimes life is tough and it hits us tough, but sometimes it's us. Like, that's why I keep saying, do the work. Do the work. So the books I brought out, we got to do a lot of personal work because as we grow personally, professionally, we're going to deal with more things. Tony Robbins has been great for me. I went to see him years ago and walked over the fire coals and things like that. Proper care and feeding of a marriage, even if you've seen a marriage, it's not your marriage. It's not your husband. This is different and it's you. Proper care and feeding of your marriage and of your husband is really important. And a book that I've kept on my bedside for years called Traits of a Lasting Marriage. And one thing I'm going to read in here is something I highlighted because he talks about the traits of a lasting marriage. Did I move it? No, I dog-eared it. He was talking about problems. Many couples wonder why all the problems now. Marriage problems don't just suddenly erupt. They tend to be long-standing. To the outsider, a break appears to be sudden when a couple separates or divorces. But the insiders know these problems have been there for a long time. Often these problems are like a brown mole on the face that becomes skin cancer. Long-standing, sooner or later it will have to be removed. Long-standing problems that may cause a marriage to break are excess baggage carried from earlier years, the myth that marriage will bring happiness, the hope of changing the other partner, and denying the reality that you both have changed. That's why I say read. Get a therapist, get a life coach, invest in all of these things. And the last thing, did I say last? Understand triggers too. I put here, Tyler Perry has a new movie out called Divorce is the New Black. And I was actually talking to a sister friend that's married to a husband. We have very similar husbands and just their mannerisms and such and things like that. And understand, she was like, oh, that's triggering, this triggering. Understand when you watch these things that they are storylines, okay, for Christian women. There were some specific things said. I don't want to share what was exactly said, but understand every message may not be for you, okay? And when I'm speaking, if you're in an abusive marriage, girl, get the out, okay? Seriously, you shouldn't be taking no ass whoopings, period, at all. And I say that from a point of, I have in the past one time, and he went to prison, my ex, the father of my 3 children. It's public knowledge and information. You don't deserve that. There's some emotional things going on. Get a therapist and understand what might be bringing some of that up from childhood issues, inner childhood. There's just a lot of things, guys. That's why I'm saying, my sisters, I love you, but I'm seeing things from older women that are encouraging us to leave. I'm seeing things from single, bitter women that are encouraging you to leave. And I see things from married women. And all I'm saying is a lot of what you go through might be pretty normal. And if it's not normal, talk with a therapist first. Talk with God. Pray before you say. Don't overshare. Keep things to yourself and do the work. That's it. That's it. Hobbies are important. They make you happy. Your self-care is important. I'm actually getting ready to go to cycle class here in about a few minutes with Tiffany today at Fitness 2020. Self-maintenance is important, okay? Because I had to cancel my waxes, because Auntie Flo came in. But you need it, sis. You need to make sure you do the things that bring you joy. That's why I love that I discovered Chicago Steppin'. Now my husband's doing it. It brings me joy. The songs are about love and they're peaceful. And it just set the mood, okay? Put on you need your sister circle, talk unicorns and rainbows. You don't have to trauma bond with people. I'm sorry, but I really don't want to trauma bond with you. So typically that's why now with people, I don't get on the phone and be talking about, oh girl, what you going through? Because I don't want to trauma bond. You need a therapist. Put on the armor, Ephesians 6:11. Put on the whole armor of God. Mine's is pink, honey, but I'm prepared. I ain't playing with the enemy. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Why, girl? Because the joy of the Lord is your super strength. Whatever you're going through, understand if you're just in the valley in your marriage. But I'm here for you. Come to Cancun with us. We actually have a trip coming up. I'm going to put it here in the chat. We are going to Cancun November 14th through the 18th. This is not one of them trauma bonding sessions either, where you're going to have a session where it is going to be, come and we're going to have these crying sessions. I don't want to do all that. I've been to retreats with women and they overshare. I just don't want more of that. Again, I don't. It's okay for them. But I'm like, y'all, we can be free and give me the practical solutions. And okay, what do I need to do? Okay, this is it. So I'm cheering for you. Keep your journals. And while I'm ending today, I'm going to do something a little different because the joy of the Lord, your strength. But I keep journals all over, that I've had for years. So I'm going to tell you what I wrote down around this time last year. Okay. And I don't journal every single day. Sometimes it's quick. Sometimes it's long. Sometimes it's not. The truth. I wrote down something, the truth. 8/16/2021. I am exactly where I need to be. Today I operate in my truth. I'm not rushing and I'm not saying yes to things that no longer serve me. The truth is I would like to do more business consulting and must focus on getting new clients. The truth is I desire love and Daryl. I sent him the sweetest love note today and truly admire and respect him. I love my answer to us, my son. So that's the truth that I shared in my journal. Journal once in a blue moon so you can look back and see how far you've come, where you were, where you are, and where you desire to be. You can speak that into life too. It's called the Big Leap. Gay Hendricks, he talks about that. We control time. Love you, sis. I hope that you have an amazing day. Thank you for joining me today. And as always, I do apologize for whatever tech issues there were. Thanks for hanging out with me, those that were able to stick it out with me. And if you didn't, here's the replay. You make today amazing. See ya. Bye, y'all.